Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. And today I have quite an assortment of random things to show you. So this week I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between knitting and crochet. So it's been a week and we'll get into that in a second. First of all, let me welcome you. If you are new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am a 39-year-old woman from southeastern Michigan. I live here with my kiddos and my husband. And it is almost April here. So you guys know what that means. April showers. The next month is going to be kind of difficult here. I am not a big fan of rain because of health issues. If you guys know, you know, rain seems to make pain just a lot worse. So if I'm out of sorts for the next month, you guys know why. With all of that said, let's start with first things first. So I give away a digital pattern every podcast, and the way that you enter is you just leave a comment down below and then come back next week and I'll draw a winner. And if it's you, all you have to do is contact me either on Instagram or Ravelry. My username is Mandy Von Knits. And let me know what pattern you want. Let me know your Ravelry username so I can gift it to you. If you don't use Ravelry, let me know that too and we can work something out. I'm sure there's other payment plans out there or payment platforms out there that we can use. Okay, with all of that said, I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And if that was you, just reach out to me on one of the various social media platforms. Okay, so like I said, this week has been really weird. I started and finished crochet stuff. I grabbed out my Tunisian crochet and started working on that. I've been working on Brioche. I took a Brioche Zoom class and I will tell you all about that. It was a lot of fun. And I've also been working on Vertices Unite. So first of all, what I am wearing, because I'm really excited about this one. This came out, I believe it came out on Friday. So you guys are watching that on Tuesday, so it came out last Friday. This is the Wildflower Pullover by Andrea Gaughan. I test knit it, and if you guys have watched previous videos, you saw me work through the process of test knitting this. It was a ton of fun. I used Holst yarn. I used Tides. Yes, Tides. So it is 30% silk and 70% wool. And I always get those mixed up. But if I say anything wrong, I always correct myself on screen so you guys know. With all of that said, you start off knitting this from the bottom up, and then you steek the sleeve holes and you steek the neck, and you kind of finish off the shoulders and start cutting. And I really liked the construction and doing this sweater. I think that with color work in the round, steeking is most definitely the way to go. And you guys have heard me say previously that I really want to make a sea glass cardigan, and I have that on my Make 30 and it will be coming up. I've just got like, my goal is to kind of oh gosh, I can't say the word. To kind of work through projects one at a time on my list. I have a plan. And eventually, when I get to the sea glass cardigan, my plan is to use because I have the Voyage by Woolen Pine. I have the Voyage pattern, the cardigan pattern. And my plan is to use that as a base because I want to use fingering weight for my sea glass. The sea glass is done in DK. So I'm going to use that as a base and basically just use the sea glass cardigan color work pattern on it. Now I have both patterns, so at the end of the day, what I'm basically going to do is kind of mishmash them together, just so that I can steek the sea glass as opposed to knitting it flat like they do in the pattern. But I really enjoyed making the Wildflower Pullover. I love test knitting for Andrea Gaughan. She is an awesome designer, and her patterns are always really well written and a lot of fun to test knit. She gives you tons of time as well. So this was my, I can't say that. This was my first all over color work sweater that I used non-superwash for. I can't even say that. And steeked. See, I have to keep adding things to make it unique, because I have done an all over color work sweater before. I just didn't steek it. That was the Outcrop by Rachel Ilsley. But I loved how you got to steek the armholes. I think that it made it a lot easier. You don't have to worry about pretty much anything except reinforcing your steeks and then just cutting it. And the neck came out great. I actually read the pattern, took the numbers into account, did my own thing. Well, not really did my own thing. I cast on more stitches than I needed just because I thought that I would need more. I know what you guys are thinking. Mandy, you always have problems with your neck. Your necks. This is why you have problems with your necks. Yes, one of these days when I read a pattern, I will actually say, hey Mandy, the designer's a designer for a reason and you're not, so listen to what they say on the paper. Anyways, I ended up ripping out the other neckline and cast on the correct amount of stitches, and I love how it came out. It's perfect, right? I love it. I used the silk garn and I had cones of it, so I still have more of this. You guys will definitely be seeing these colors when I make the Shetland Skies shawl, which should be going on my needles here pretty soon. If my kiddo doesn't randomly pop out and say, hey mom, can you crochet this for me? Like she did this week. Okay, that is what I'm wearing. Now, I know that you guys have been waiting very patiently for this to see my newest crochet object, right? Because let's tell a story here. My daughter does tutoring for math, and she's not a big fan of math. I mean, I'm not either, but I kind of know that as you get older, you know that you kind of have to buckle down and just do stuff you don't like to do. But when you're 10, you know, sometimes it's hard, right? Until you get those skills to cope. But anyways, she comes to me and she goes, Mom, can you make me Ori, an Ori plushie from Ori and the Blind Forest? If you guys don't know what that is a video game character that she's loved for a million years. Everything Ori, both her and my son. My son went through a phase when he was younger, and now it seems like she's just loved this video game character for the last 2 years. So I had previously made her this amigurumi plushie, and she loved it to the point where it basically fell apart. And it was made with red heart. So if that gives you any inclination, that's how much she likes this character. So when she came to me and asked me if I would make her this plushie, I said, okay, I will use it. I will make it and use it as an incentive for you to work on your math tutoring this week. You know, kind of a fun bonus. If she does all of her math work, then I'll give her the plushie. So that's what we did. And on, I think last Sunday, I cast this on. So this is the plushie that I made. And as you can see, it's amigurumi. Now it has a little tail and little felt eyes and a little felt nose. So how I did this, and I'll put up the pattern information here, but the pattern that I used, I completely changed the legs. I made the legs more doll-like, And I did that on purpose because the pattern kind of has him like on all fours, and I knew that she was basically looking for a doll because that's what she wants. So I ended up holding 2 strands. I had 3 skeins of white Red Heart Super Saver, and I asked her, I said, hey kiddo, do you want a big Ori or a small Ori? And she goes, how about a medium one? So my original plan was to hold 3 strands together. So when she said medium, I decided, okay, I'm gonna hold 2 strands together. So this was crocheted with 2 strands of worsted weight Red Heart held together. And it's a pretty good size, and I think that this size-wise, it came out perfect. Now, I'm trying to think of things that I did to kind of, that I would have done differently. I paid specific attention to making sure that I crocheted the head on very tightly because Ori's got a heavy head, right? But one thing that worked in my favor for this as opposed to a doll is that Ori does not have a neck. So his head kind of attaches to his shoulders, which means that there's more of a flat, wide base for his head to be attached to, which definitely helps in supporting him. Now for his ears, since his ears are very big, I kind of had to take Red Heart, and as I was sewing, I would go back and forth like across his head just to make sure that they were stable enough because these are big ears. And I think that was all that I had done differently. Now, she loves it. I mean, it made her happy, right? And it definitely incentivized her to work on her math. So I think that it was a win-win. Like I said, I used felt for the eyes and the nose. I had briefly thought about embroidering it, but I'm just not that good at embroidery. The pattern had said to use felt eyes, and I figured that I would be able to draw it easier on paper. Kind of what I did was I taped the paper to his face or her face. According to my daughter, Ori has no gender, so I'm not sure how to refer to Ori, but she keeps correcting me on that, so I feel bad whenever I call Ori a him or a her. So what I did was I drew their eyes out and I taped it on their face, and that helped me in getting the facial placement of the eyes. And once I felt that they were a good size and a good placement, then I took them and cut them out with the felt and just attached them. So she's very happy with it. And I'm very happy because it incentivized her to work on her math. So that is what I spent a good portion of time on this week. Other things that I worked on. I'm going to show you this, and let me show you this first. This is the Tunisian sampler shawl, and this is what I have been working on. This is a pattern by Hayley Joanne Robinson, and I have been working on this with Around the Table Yarns. They are posting Zoom videos up on YouTube and having classes on Zoom and in person at their shop once a month, and we have been working through the shawl. Now this is a section, I think this is the 4th section. 1, 2, yes, 4. And I am on the purple part right now, and I have a funny story to share about the purple part. But well, it looks blue here. So this is a basket weave, and you do it by doing Tunisian crochet, knit, and purl stitches. So this is more purple than it's showing, but I have done 3 of the patterns. So 1, 2, 3, and you need to do 4 of them. But here I am right here, right? And I have this amount of stitches left. And let me show you guys. This right here is how much purple I have left. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Mandy, what are you doing? So I have at least a good explanation. So I've been using these Shepshes Scrumptious, right? Now, I have a bunch of these. They're 30 grams, I believe, and they're 30 grams and 97 meters. So I have a bunch of them, and I have like 2 or 3 of each of them. So when I grabbed this out, I was thinking I had more of the purple, but I do not. Can you guys guess why? Do you give up? Okay, it was because earlier in the summer, I had used this purple to make a couple of hats. So I only had 1 purple when I started and did not realize. Well, this is exactly how much those 97 meters got me. And as you can see, I have just this itty bitty amount left. So needless to say, I ordered one of these yarns and they will be here soon. And I will be finishing the purple. And from now on, when I start a new section, I will make sure that I have more than one of those. I would have definitely, even 1.5 would have probably made it just fine. But I've been enjoying this shawl. I do like Tunisian crochet. I've been picking random colors, just colors that I want to make, that I feel like working with at the time. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I am doing this gray in between each color section. So I've got pink and gray down here, then green and this gray, purple, and I'm gonna do another gray right up here for the next section whenever it comes out in April. So it's just a triangle shawl, and it's just a good way to kind of learn Tunisian crochet and get in the habit of being able to do it, understand patterns, understand how the stitches work, and things like that. It is a fun project that I've just been working on once a month. So, and I'm planning on doing it for the rest of the year. I'm not crazy about the colors, but I'm hoping that once I get, you know, the grays going in and out, it'll kind of pull it all together. But we'll see. The yarn is super soft. I do love the Shepshes Scrumptious. It says on the yarn tag that it's made with recycled bottles, which always cracks me up when I feel it, because it feels like the softest thing ever. It's really like microfibery. It's amazing. So however they used recycled bottles in this, well done, because it definitely does not feel like it. It says it's 50% recycled polyester and 50% acrylic, and it's DK weight. So this is definitely a fun one if you have any DK weight scraps. Now, theoretically, you don't have, I think you need like 8 colors, but you could totally just do as many colors as you want throughout this shawl. There's no knitting or Tunisian crochet police, or regular crochet for that matter. So, but I do enjoy bringing it out once a week. It is something that I've been looking forward to. And here are all of like the different colors that I have. I have that orange, I have this like green. These are just some of them. I have the rest of them in a bag. I have this blue. And let's see, this like really light cyan. I really do like this kit that I got. I believe I got it from Jimmy Bean's Wool. It was at one point in time, Shepshes had ran like a a blanket crochet along, and this was one of the kits that I ended up getting on discount a long time ago. And you know, this yarn really comes in handy. This is another color blue. This yarn really comes in handy for acrylic hats, a shawl, like amigurumi. This would really be great for amigurumi as well, because you know, when you're making the small things, the small items, you only need like this much yarn, and it's really a bummer to have to go buy whole skeins if you want to make something really colorful that's small, because then it's not even buying them. It's that, you know, then you have all this leftover yarn, and it's just a lot, because then you have to figure out something else to do with the yarn that got left over. Okay, so I am going to show you some knitting now. I'll save the brioche for last because I'm going to talk about the class that I took as well. So this is my Vertices Unite, and I was really bummed about this because this was what got put off to the side kind of whenever I was doing her Ori right here. Whenever I was working on that, I was daydreaming about working on this. So this is my Vertices Unite, and I can't even spread it out. It's gonna fall off the needle. So that's my fault for using such a small needle, but we'll try. So this is my Vertices Unite, and this is a pattern by Stephen West. And I have worked all the increases on this section, and I just, right here, see this little stitch marker? I right there started the decreases. So what happens is that now that we've worked all the increases, we're going back in till we have 4 stitches, and then this section is done. So, and I really enjoy these colors and how they're striping together. This is Mouse Witch Yarns. It is fingering weight yarn, and it came from a set called Sugar Plum, the Sugar Plum set, and it had 5 different colors. I have some more purple, and then I have cream, and I believe a gray, I think. If you go back to previous episodes when I first started this, you'll see all the colors. I don't have them with me right now. I'm trying to keep it in a smaller bag. So this is the bag that I want to use. This is my black cat calico bag here. This is a bag from Adore Knit, and I love her bags. And I no joke, I love them. She actually came out with one, I believe yesterday, and it was another black cat bag. And I went to my husband, I'm like, do you mind if I get a bag? And he goes, oh no, it's cat, isn't it? He knows, because that's when I tend to ask him, well, when I'm like, do you mind if I get this bag? Because he doesn't really mind, but if I don't clear it with him, I will just buy all the things. So look at my little cat pin. I love that. That's so cute. My aunt sent that to me. And I do love this bag, and I do love cat bags. If it were up to me, all of my bags would be cat bags. Speaking of cats, have you guys seen the free Ravelry pattern with the cat? I'm gonna talk about it later. You guys know I have to talk about that one. But yes, this is my Vertices Unite. This is done in garter stitch, and I am using a size 3.5. And it's very squishy. I'm hoping that I can get through the decreases and start section 2 this next week. And the reason I really want to start section 2 is because I want to pick out the next color and see, you know, what, and just pick out the next color and see what it's gonna look like, because I love all the colors, but still to this exact minute, I still have no clue which color I'm gonna pick next. So if you guys can think of, like, what do you think would go best there? Do you think it would be a gray or a white? I don't even know what the next section looks like, so like where it is on the shawl, so I'll have to take a look at that too. But I'm definitely excited about it. Okay, now this is gonna look silly because I've been working on decreases all morning. Well, not decreases, I've been working on this hat all morning. How's that? So this is the Dorian hat, and I'm putting up information on both the hat and the yarn that I used because I cannot remember the yarn that I used. But I put it on a circular needle, and the reason I put it on a circular needle, because usually when I'm doing hat decreases, I'll use DPNs. But I kept dropping stitches with this, and I feel like it's because the yarn is just so fuzzy. It's not that they drop and fall like down very far. They drop and get stuck, but they keep falling off the needle, and it was driving me nuts. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do 2 circulars with this for the decreases, because otherwise I'm gonna be fighting this forever. So this is the Dorian hat, and this is not blocked, and you can see my glorious lifelines right here. I actually took out, I had a lifeline like right here and one right here. I took out everything except the last one that I put in for filming because I didn't want to show you guys like all the cotton fingering weight yarn that's running through the pattern, the hat. But you can actually see, I think those decreases look really cool. See how they kind of like go into one another? You can definitely see when I started decreasing. But I am almost there on this hat, and it is really neat. So this is brioche. This is 2-color brioche. And this is 2-color brioche in the round. So let me see if I can show you how it looks on the other side. I have decided this year that this year is going to be the year that I kind of conquer brioche and get more comfortable with it. Oh boy, you can see how I split the yarn because I needed yarn for my brioche class, so I kind of cut the yarn there, but that's okay. Anyways, I am hoping to have this done by next week. I am still not super comfortable with brioche. It is definitely an acquired taste. And I just found a stitch that I dropped. Drats. Well, okay, it's not exactly dropped. It's that, I don't know if you guys can see. This yarn has like some string running through it. And I keep splitting it, and that just catching that string as opposed to all the yarn. It's one of those things that make me wish that that I had sharper knitting needles for this, but I do not. I do like the yarn, and I do like how soft it is, but it is definitely splitty. But that's where I am on the Dorian hat. I am going to be making one more of these because brioche, I'm going to tell you, it's like a muscle, right? Everything that we do and we learn, it's like a muscle, and you have to exercise it. And that's what I'm going to do. My plan is to make one more of these, and then I am going to cast on a more difficult brioche pattern, and we will see where it goes from there. I do like the pink and the blue. I think that it's very pretty, and I think that the decreases are very cool. So, okay. What do I have? Oh, I guess I can show you this. I don't know if I showed you this last week. Probably, but I'm going to show it to you again, just really quick. This will be my next Dorian hat right here. Can you guess who that is for? It's for me. I'm very excited about a pink and black hat. Okay, I think that is like all the knitting that I have to show you, but this chair is squeaking. It's going to drive me nuts. Okay, I think it's gonna stop. Probably not, but I'm sorry. I will try to edit it out post editing. I do try a lot of times to kind of edit out annoying sounds that might drive people crazy. Sometimes I am successful, sometimes I am not. It just depends. Anyways, so I'm gonna talk to you guys about my brioche class that I took. It was with Leonard, and he is the curator dyer that's at yarnsnob.com, and his yarn is really beautiful. So if you ever want to take a look at beautiful yarn, I definitely suggest going there. But he is also a really cool and good knitting instructor. If you've watched my episode about Jimmy Bean's online retreat, he was a teacher there, and I took 2 classes from him. I took a finishing class and tips and tricks, and they were both awesome. Well, I signed up for his newsletter after that, and he had recently, a little bit ago, sent out a newsletter saying that he was going to have a brioche class over Zoom, and I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I will sign up for that. So I did, and I was very happy that I did, because he taught us how to knit brioche flat, which is a completely different animal than knitting brioche in the round. Knitting brioche in the round is very easy compared to flat brioche knitting, especially flat 2-color brioche knitting. Now, I was really happy that I knew how to, what was I happy about? That I knew how to knit brioche 2-color in the round, because I think that helped my brain kind of adapt and understand relatively quickly how to knit brioche flat 2-color. If you guys can hear snoring, my cat is over there snoring. That's where it's coming from. I apologize. She's 19 years old, right? When I am 100 19's what, like 100 in human years? So when I am 100, I hope that I can just chill out and snore too. Okay, so the class taught us how to knit both 1-color brioche flat and 2-color brioche flat. And I found it very valuable. And I always like the community of just kind of participating in a class and listening to other people talk about knitting, and I'm such a geek, but it makes me so happy. So I thought that was very cool. And Keith on yarnsnob.com, he has other classes that you can buy just the recordings of, but if you do take part in his Zoom classes, you get like the recording of it, and you can watch it whenever you want, which I thought was really cool. I definitely appreciate just all of the effort that people go through to kind of bring knitting content to make it easier for people who don't know what they're doing, like me, to be able to learn and grow as knitters. So I thought it was really cool. I'm very excited to kind of take on my next brioche project, my next harder brioche project. So my daughter, yeah, I'll go into this. So my daughter has been asking a whole bunch. Like, she didn't ask me in the middle of winter because I would have dropped everything and made it. She had started to ask me as kind of the temperature changed. And I'm trying to find the picture of it. She wanted a scarf, no, a hat that covered your face, like everything from your face. And I don't even have a picture of it. I didn't print it. Okay, so anyways, I found this pattern for a baklava, and I'm putting up the picture right here, and it is perfect, and it's brioche. So while I was in Keith's class, he showed us this sample that was white. It was knit, it was 2-color brioche. It was knit in white and like this rainbow yarn. And I couldn't stop thinking and going, well, my daughter really wanted this hat. So that covered her face. So I should reach out and say, what yarn did you use? Because I was hoping he had dyed it so that I could just pick it up from his store. Well, I emailed him after class and he responded and let me know. So that yarn is on the way here, and when it comes, you guys will see it. So that is something that I am going to wait on until I'm done with the cowltopus, which was a request from my mother-in-law. And that's the reason I'm practicing brioche right now. I have the yarn for some of those, and I'm going to make a couple of them and give her a choice of either does she want these or does she want different colors. Because when I had asked her, she had said that she really liked the sample, and the sample on Laura Nelkin's page, and it's done in all different colors. So basically she had said that she likes all different colors. So I have yarn and all different colors of them. So with that said, I'm going to talk about patterns because I have been going through Ravelry looking at all of the new summer and spring patterns, which makes no sense when you think about how I'm planning for knitting a cowltopus and a baklava. Baklava? I always say the wrong word. Am I saying the wrong word again? Guys, don't laugh at me if I am. It's been a hard week. Okay, anyways. The first pattern that I am going to show you is the Relax Tee. And this is by Aimee Sher. And this is knit in fingering weight yarn, and I thought that this was a great transitional weather and summer sweater. So the one that I really liked is down here, and I know that seems weird when you're talking about like a transitional sweater, but for me that's exactly what I'm looking for because I get really cold and I feel like the only time I'm going to be wanting to wear that is like in the dead of summer. So right there would be the perfect springtime or fall sweater for me. And I just thought that this was so cute. It had just come out and it has a zillion sizes. It says that it can fit upper bust measurement of 31 to 60 and a fourth inch. Yeah, 60 and a fourth inches. So it also has a low vision format available, which is really cool. It says the Relax Tee is a wardrobe staple and features compound raglan construction for a lovely fit, as well as 2 different sleeve lengths. Rippling garter ridges flow across this lovely top for an extra touch of visual and textural interest. It's worked from the top down, and what really interests me is the compound raglan part. So I've been wanting to make one of those, and I feel like this might be a really good one to try. I have heard good things about her patterns. It says, worked from the top down, this is a satisfying knit and the pattern comes with a raglan tracker, so you are guided through the compound raglan. Your finished tee will be easy to wear and style and has a delightful fit due to the compound raglan shaping and optional bust darts. Oh, I want to try this. I think that I'll put this. So I started the second pattern bundle, and that second pattern bundle is all of the patterns that I want to try after I finish my first batch. So let me know if you guys have tried any of her patterns and let me know what you thought. So this is another one that I really liked. This is called the Kiruto sweater, and this is by Winter Weathers Knits. And let me see if I can show you a good one. I love the silhouette on this pattern, and I think that it's great how it's boxy. And to me, this screams like it's all about comfort, and that is definitely what I am all about. It comes in sizes extra small to 5X, and it's knit and Aran weight. Interesting. So the yarn that's used is Aran weight yarn. It's 50% tencel and 50% cotton. So that's interesting. I don't know that I've ever knit with an Aran weight cotton. Have you guys? Let me know down below. I really like how boxy that is. It says, although it took a few tries to get the puff diamonds just right, I'm in love with the simple illusion of hand knitting a quilted sweater without actually quilting at all. As much as I would love to seam a bunch of tiny diamonds together, this was a much more enjoyable way to achieve a similar fit. So this is another one that I ran across, and this is a scarf, but there's a story behind this. This is in Lane Magazine's 52 Weeks of Scrap Yarn, and that's a book that either just came out or is coming out, and I was looking at all of the patterns that were in it, and this book seems really cool. So this was, I think, my favorite one, or it wasn't my favorite one. It was the one I thought that encapsulated the idea of like using all of your scraps the best. So this is a scarf, and it's knit with fingering weight yarn, and I have a ton of fingering weight scraps. This scrap, somehow my mind is merging scarf and scrap together. So this scarf was inspired by a traditional Japanese sugar candy that is small, brightly colored, and has a spiky surface. The 4-row pattern repeat is an easy to memorize and fun to knit, which is important for me because I love those. I love those patterns that you can just kind of zone out while you're knitting. The sample was knit in fingering singles by the Wandering Flock in colorways 100s and 1000s main color, which is a fingering weight hand-dyed soft merino yarn. 4 contrasting colors, a mix of different fingering weight yarns were used. It's knit in one piece flat. I was very interested in this book, and I thought that it was at least worth a look if you guys were looking for different ways to use scrap yarns. Okay, this is a crochet tee. And let me see if I can find the picture. I really like the way that the top of this, like the neck and the top part of this sweater look, which is what I thought was most appealing to it. And you guys are going to notice that a couple of the tees that I'm showing you have like the details around the neck, like my summer in a box, and I really like that. So this is knit with sport weight yarn, and it says this beautiful crochet pattern is a must-have for your wardrobe. The Serena tee is worked from the top down in a modified A-line raglan shape. So the pattern features ribbing at the bottom, sleeves, and neck to give it a polished, finished look. You'll also find an alternative neck edging option for those who like a little extra customization. It says it's adventurous, beginner friendly. And it's not often I run across like crochet summer tops, so I've been trying to like purposely search them out. But actually this was one that had it's just recently come out, so I didn't have to search too hard for this one, but I think it's this next one. No, this next one I found is actually knitting, and this is called the Daybreak tee, and this has been out for quite a while. So this is another summer top, and this also has the neck that I really like just a nice detail along the neck, and this is free. So this is a 100% free pattern. It's knit in DK weight yarn. It says the Daybreak tee is a slightly cropped tee that utilizes 1 to 3 inches of positive ease for a classic and flattering fit. It is knit simply in the round from bottom up. Then the back and the front are separated and worked flat. So that is really cool. And I know that I've seen other podcasters make this tee, I believe, and I really like the decoration on the neck. So you might want to check that out if you're looking for like a DK weight summer tee that's free, right? Okay, so I have to show you guys this one. Now, the story about this one is that I saw this on, I believe, one of the Ravelry pattern forums, and I'm like, oh wow, I really want to make that. So I went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning to a Ravelry message from my friend saying, hey, did you see this? And then the next day I got a text message from another friend who's like, hey, did you see this? So I've got to show this to you guys. This is called Kitten Annabelle, and this is so cute. Let me see right here. So this, and I've read about this quite a bit. This is knit with non-superwash wool and eyelash yarn, and you knit them together, and then you felt it, and then you put the eyes in. So I'm sitting here wondering, A, if I could actually make this and have it look like this, because I feel like mine will not look this good. This is such a cute sample. These sample photos are adorable, but I would really love to try. So if I make one, I'm going to have to make 2, because my daughter will want one, and I want to make an orange cat, and she'll want a calico cat. So then I have to start thinking, well, how do you make a calico cat like this? And because orange is easy, right? Orange. But calico, it gets kind of tricky. So this pattern is by Cindy Pylon, and it is free until, when is it free until? Until the end of March with no coupon necessary. On April 1st, the pattern will be $8. Kitten Annabelle is knit in one piece from a strand of worsted weight wool yarn and a strand of eyelash yarn held together. She is felted in a washing machine. Post felting, her eyes and nose are installed, and she is stuffed with fiber fill. The only sewing is at the very end. Her tummy is sewn closed and her tail is attached. Comprehensive instructions with diagrams provide clear instructions along the way. Now, I have so many questions. When I am felting this in the washing machine, how does the yarn felt but not stick together. And there's still a hole. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does the cat not turn into like one of those dryer balls? Right? I feel like I'd be too scared to put it in the washing machine because it'd end up like felted together. Or maybe if it did felt together, you could take it, like pull it apart. Do you guys have any idea? Have you had experience with doing something like this? I felted a bag before, but we felted it in the sink. And then once it was almost felted, we were able to put it in the washing machine and it didn't like clump together. But with the eyelash yarn and like throwing it in the washing machine, I'd just be so scared. And spending so much time making something this adorable, I'd be so sad if I ended up ruining it. And I feel like I would. Plus eyelash yarn. You know what though? Like eyelash yarn. Whenever people go, hey, I don't know what to do with this eyelash yarn, you can point them right here. This is what you can do with the eyelash yarn. I've also seen like the little hedgehogs. The hedgehogs also are a good use for the eyelash yarn. But that is what I wanted to show you. This is one more pattern that I'm going to mention. And I've actually made this one. And when I'm putting up pictures talking about it, I will also put up my project picture photo. That photo was taken probably when my daughter was like 1 or 2. You'll notice I'm standing. I went from, if you're new here, I went from running 5Ks slowly over the span of a decade to using a wheelchair. So if you're wondering why the picture shows me standing, that would be why. This is the Aimee granny square top, and I really enjoyed making this when I made it. I made this when I was a newbie crocheter, so my daughter was, it might have been before she was even born. I'd have to check the date, but what you end up doing is basically taking 2 giant granny squares. And there's not much shaping, or even there might not be any shaping, but it's so easy and it's so easy to customize. You could make it any size that you need, and the pattern walks you through it, and the pattern is free. I ended up using, it calls for lace yarn, but because of the nature of the pattern, you could use whatever you want. It says the pattern is size M, medium, so it's 40 inches, but it can be adjusted for smaller or larger depending on the size of the granny squares. Use hip or bust measurement, whichever is larger, plus 2 inches of ease to determine how large to make the squares. So you can also add some ribbing down at the bottom, and at the top if you want the neck not to be so large, and even on the sleeve holes. I really liked making this. I thought that it was great, especially being a new crocheter, and not, I don't want to say new crocheter because I wasn't that new, but I was new at making garments, and more precisely, I was new at fitting, like making garments that fit. I remember my first like crochet garment that I made, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a cardigan, and it was from a magazine, and it was with that Red Heart Unforgettable yarn, and I worked so hard on that, and it was it wasn't knit. It was crocheted in such a way that I couldn't try it on as I was making it. I believe it was in pieces, and that's why I couldn't do it. Or it might have been bottom up. I can't remember. But whatever the case, I worked and worked and worked at it and tried very hard. And because I was such a newbie crocheter, especially at garment making, it did not work. It was so huge on me. It was so sad. That is when I found this and I worked this and I actually made something that fit me, and I was very proud of it. So it did have a happy ending. I mean, even if you make a sweater and it turns out that it's too big or too small, you always learn something from it. And hopefully you can find somebody that wants the sweater, or you can take it out and try again. I have taken out many, many, many things, and I have never regretted taking it out, especially when I know it's going to bother me in the end. So just keep that in mind. Keep moving forward. Okay, I have nothing left to share with you guys. My life has been very hectic this week. We are still watching Bones. My husband has been playing Octopath Traveler, so I've been watching him while he's been playing video games, and I have been knitting or studying, and that's pretty much it. I have almost given up on the wheelchair people calling me back, so I'm still waiting for that. I did reach out to a company that offers these machines, like standing machines, basically, something that I can transfer into from my wheelchair, and the machine will like let me stand safely, basically strap in my legs so I don't fall. So I'm going to get a demo of that on April 7th. I think that's not the Monday that just passed. Sorry guys, it's Saturday. Sometimes I have to remember to think ahead. April 7th, so it'll be next Monday. Not next Monday for me, next Monday for you. I'm really excited about that. I would like to see it in action, and theoretically insurance might cover it. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed there, but you guys know how insurance is and how healthcare is. So no matter where you are in like everywhere, I'm sure that there's things that you'd love to change about your health insurance or your health coverage. So, okay guys, with all of that said, thank you so much for sticking around, and please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button if you could. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget, if you want to be entered in next week's pattern prize, just leave a comment down below. Okay, thank you. Bye.